The stranger in the crash. Elias Ward had long ago stopped believing life had surprises left for him. After losing his wife in an industrial explosion and raising his 8-year-old daughter, Kira, alone in the outskirts of the Nevada desert, he'd settled into a quiet existence. A rundown garage, old fusion batteries to repair for scrap, and a small homemade greenhouse he built so Kira could grow strawberries in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't the life he once dreamed of, but it was theirs. The night everything changed, a storm rolled across the desert. Unnatural, green lightning splitting the sky, wind howling like the earth was screaming. Elias watched the sky from the porch, Kira asleep inside, when something tore through the storm clouds. A fireball streaked across the heavens. Then another. Then, boom. The ground shook. A shockwave of heat washed over him. And far out in the desert, something enormous struck the sand, carving a glowing crater. Elias grabbed his scanner. Radio interference. Electromagnetic distortion. Unknown energy signatures. Not a meteor. Not even close. He stared at the horizon where smoke was rising in a perfect vertical column. "What the hell crashed out there?" he whispered. And as the wind shifted, he heard something else. A deep, pulsing hum. A sound no human machine ever made. Elias knew two things instantly. He was going to investigate. Under no circumstances could he let Kira come along. So he tucked her in, grabbed his desert jacket, slung his tool pack over his shoulder, and left a note on the fridge. "Back soon. Don't worry." He reached the crash site after 40 minutes of hard driving over rocky terrain, and when he stepped into the crater, his breath caught in his throat. Not a plane. Not a satellite. A ship. Huge. Sleek. Glossy metallic black with glowing purple seams that pulsed like veins. It was shaped like a crescent moon mixed with a blade, half buried in the sand, still radiating heat. And leaning against the hull was a woman. Tall, far taller than any human, maybe 8 feet. Broad-shouldered, powerful, glowing lines along her skin like bioluminescent tattoos. Hair shimmering silver blue. Armor cracked and sparking. A long, deep gash along her thigh, leaking silver fluid. Her eyelids fluttered when she heard his footsteps. Large, luminous violet eyes locked onto him. "You," she rasped. "Human." Elias froze. "You're hurt. Hold still." Her hand twitched toward a weapon holstered at her thigh, but she lacked strength. "Do not approach. I am armed." He crouched anyway. Her weapon flickered weakly, no power left. "You're not in any condition to stop me," he said gently. "Let me help." She blinked, dazed. "Why would a primitive human help me?" Elias snorted. "Lady, I don't know what you are, but you crashed in my desert. That makes you my responsibility until you're back on your feet." The alien woman stared at him like she'd never met anyone like him. "Your responsibility," she repeated, confused. "Yeah. Now hold still." And with that, Elias Ward, single mechanic dad with too many bills and too little sleep, lifted an alien princess into his arms, completely unaware of who she truly was. The princess with a broken ship. Her name, she told him later, was Velyara Kaetheris. He didn't know that the Kaetheris dynasty was the most powerful ruling house in the Orion expanse. He didn't know that she was the Era Sovereign, commander of the Imperial fleet, richer than empires, feared across 12 galaxies. He also didn't know she was wanted by assassins after an attempted coup. To Elias, she was simply Velyara, the giant, injured alien woman currently sitting on his workbench while he wrapped her wounds with improvised thermal seal strips. "You treat injuries for a living?" she asked. No, Elias said, adjusting the bandage. I fix things.
She tilted her head.
I am a thing to fix.
He shrugged.
You're alive. That makes you fixable.
She seemed startled by that.
While she rested, Elias spent hours analyzing the wrecked ship. Its power core had ruptured, spilling volatile energy through the systems.
Panels were fried. Stabilizers melted.
A landing strut snapped clean through. But the structure, the technology, it was unlike anything human science even dreamed of.
And yet,
a lot of the systems were intuitive. If you stared long enough, the ship almost seemed to respond.
Almost like it wanted to help him fix it.
Veliara watched him work in silence for a long time. You are not afraid of me, she said finally. Elias wiped sweat from his brow. Should I be?
She hesitated. Most species kneel. Or tremble.
Or run.
He didn't even look up. Well, I don't kneel to anyone.
And if I ran every time something looked dangerous, I'd never get anything done. Something changed in her eyes.
Something soft.
Like no one had ever spoken to her like that before.
Why do you help me? She asked quietly.
Elias tightened a bolt. Because you needed help. That is unusual.
Not where I come from.
She stared at him like he was a paradox she couldn't compute. Over the next 2 days, while Kira stayed with a neighbor, Elias repaired Veliara's ship piece by piece. She regained her strength quickly, her biology beyond anything human.
She explored his small home, his greenhouse, his garage, his daughter's drawings on the wall. You live modestly, she observed. I live honestly, he replied.
Veliara touched the drawings gently. Your child is talented. She's everything. He didn't see the way her expression warmed, like she was seeing something precious and unfamiliar. Something she'd never had.
A family.
The complication. The hunters arrive. The third night, Elias woke to Veliara standing outside his door, armor fully restored, eyes sharp. What's wrong?
Elias whispered.
They found us. The sky split open with streaks of red. 3 cruisers descended, sleek, aggressive crafts bearing the sigil of the Zarkun Dominion, the faction trying to overthrow her.
Explosions ripped across the desert.
Elias grabbed Kira, who had woken up terrified. The ground shook as the hunters fired warning blasts. Stay behind me, Veliara commanded, stepping forward. Her body glowed with brilliant violet energy as she lifted her hand, projecting a shield dome around the house.
Elias stared in shock.
You can do that. I am the heiress of Kaetheris, she said, as if that explained everything. It explained nothing, but Elias had no time to ask. 1 cruiser landed. Armored soldiers marched out. Their commander shouted, Princess Veliara, surrender, or we will annihilate this entire region. Veliara turned her head slightly toward Elias. I will not allow them to harm you.
Then she unleashed her power.
A shockwave of violet energy blasted forward, shredding sand, knocking soldiers aside like dolls. The attackers regrouped, firing plasma rounds. Elias shielded Kira with his body, but Veliara was already in front of them, taking every hit, glowing brighter with each impact. She roared and unleashed a beam of starfire that sliced the cruiser in half.
2 more ships descended. She wavered.
The shield flickered.
Elias grabbed her arm.
Your ship is repaired enough to fly,
but not enough to win this fight.
Veliara clenched her jaw. Then what do you advise, human mechanic?
He smiled.
We run. She stared at him, then nodded. For the first time in her life, she let someone else lead. The climax, the great escape. Elias strapped Kira into a harness inside the alien ship. Veliara took the co-pilot seat, shaking slightly from energy loss.
"Hold on to something," Elias warned.
"You intend to fly my royal cruiser," she said, incredulous. "Unless you think you can pilot it while half-conscious."
"Fly." He gripped the controls.
They pulsed under his fingertips, recognizing him. Outside, the hunters charged weapons.
Elias powered the thrusters.
"Come on, princess, let's see what you can do." The ship blasted upward seconds before plasma fire hit the crater, sand exploding behind them. Veliara overrode stabilizers with trembling hands. "There is a canyon north. Navigate through, lose them in the magnetic storms."
Elias pushed the ship into a dive. Cruisers chased them. Plasma bolts tore through the air.
Kira screamed but held tight.
The canyon walls rushed up around them.
"Elias!"
Veliara shouted.
"Sharp left, now." He banked the ship so hard the hull skimmed the rock by centimeters. The Dominion cruisers couldn't match the maneuver.
One slammed into the canyon wall. Another clipped the rock and spiraled down. Only one remained. "We can't outrun them," Elias said.
"Not like this."
Veliara looked at him. Her eyes softened. "You saved my life. My ship.
Now my future."
She placed her glowing hand on the console.
"Let me return the favor." She overcharged the reactor. The ship blasted forward at impossible speed. The remaining cruiser lost tracking. The magnetic storms swallowed them whole. Silence. They escaped. The ending. The most powerful princess in the galaxy. Hours later, they landed in a remote valley, hidden from scanners. Veliara stood before Elias, towering yet strangely gentle.
"I owe you a life debt," she said.
"You owe me nothing," Elias replied. But she stepped closer. "You treated me not as royalty, not as a weapon, but as a person."
He swallowed.
"Isn't that what you are?"
"No," she whispered.
"Not to my empire." Veliara knelt, a being of unimaginable power kneeling before a human mechanic.
Kira gasped.
"Daddy, she's bowing." Elias froze. "What are you doing?"
"Get up."
"I choose," Veliara said softly, "to serve no throne but the one I found here."
She touched Kira's cheek gently.
"And to protect the family that reminded me I could be more than a crown."
Elias met her glowing eyes.
"What happens now?" Veliara smiled. Warm, powerful, unstoppable. "Now, Elias Ward, the richest and most powerful princess in the galaxy, stands with you."
She took his hand.
"And whatever threatens you will answer to me."
The desert wind blew softly around them. A mechanic. A single father.
And a galactic princess who had never been soft for anyone. Until him. Their unlikely bond had just rewritten the fate of empires.
And this was only the beginning.